I'd thought leaving the HOA would put an end to all the petty harassment, but Karen clearly hadn't gotten the memo. One afternoon, I received word from a neighbor that a group of people claiming to be law enforcement had shown up at my cabin. They wanted to inspect the property and ensure compliance with HOA rules. My first thought was confusion. This was my land, and any authority they claimed to have was completely fabricated. I drove over, cautiously approaching the scene. Sure enough, a couple of men in what appeared to be police-style uniforms were standing near the gate, clipboard in hand, while Karen barked orders like she was orchestrating a raid. The problem was obvious. They weren't real officers. These were people Karen had hired or convinced to try and enforce the HOA's authority over my property. I calmly stepped out of my truck, hands raised, and said, "This is private property. Who are you, and what authority do you claim here?" Karen's confident smirk faltered slightly. "They're enforcement officers," she said, waving the clipboard. "We're here to ensure compliance with HOA rules." I laughed. "This is my land. Your HOA doesn't have jurisdiction here, and your officers, whoever they are trespassing. You are all trespassing." Karen's face drained of color. She started to stammer, but I didn't give her a chance to argue. I pointed out that not only was her so-called enforcement team on private property illegally, but the entire HOA office was actually built on land I had legally purchased years ago. Every inch of their office footprint was technically mine. The irony wasn't lost on me or anyone watching. The officers suddenly looked nervous, realizing they were standing on private land and had no authority whatsoever. Karen tried to assert herself, but the evidence was irrefutable. I calmly pulled out the deeds and maps, showing the boundaries, surveys, and legal ownership documents. The entire office, built without proper permission on my property, meant any enforcement attempt from that location was invalid from the start. Within minutes, the faux officers retreated, mumbling excuses. Karen tried to salvage the situation, but the neighbors and a few curious onlookers had already gathered, whispering and taking notes. The public humiliation was complete. She had attempted to enforce HOA rules on my property using fake cops, only to discover that she had no legal ground, and that the very foundation of her office was built on my land. After that day, the HOA never again attempted to interfere with my ranch. Karen was forced to retreat into her office, her authority shattered, and the members began questioning her judgment and leadership. I didn't just reclaim my property. I turned her own hub of power into a symbol of her failure. Now, whenever I drive past her office, I smile, remembering how she tried to bully me with fake cops on land she didn't even own. The lesson was clear. Never underestimate someone who knows their property rights, and never assume your HOA can dictate what happens on land that isn't theirs.